close the bathroom door, and within seconds, scratch, scratch. Or maybe they don't scratch at all, they just sit there, waiting, watching. And the moment you open the door, they're right there. Most people laugh it off. They're just being clingy. They're obsessed with me. But that's not how dogs work. Your dog isn't following you into the bathroom for the reason you think. And once you understand what's actually going on, you might start seeing this behavior very differently. Because sometimes it's not about love, it's about something much deeper. These are 7 reasons your dog watches you in the bathroom. And number 5 is the one most owners completely misunderstand. You walk into the bathroom, door closes, and your dog either follows you in or waits right outside like a guard. Well, most people think, they just don't want to leave me alone. But here's what your dog actually sees. You just entered a small enclosed space where you're distracted, vulnerable, and not paying attention to your surroundings. From your dog's perspective, that's a moment of risk. Dogs are wired with something called protective vigilance. It's an instinct rooted deep in their nervous system. In the wild, being isolated, even briefly, can make you an easy target. So when you disappear behind that door, your dog doesn't relax. They stay alert, listening, waiting, monitoring. Not because they're obsessed with you, but because they feel responsible for your safety. And here's the part most people miss. If you constantly shut them out, ignore their attempts to follow or react with frustration, that protective instinct doesn't just disappear, it turns into confusion. And over time, your dog may stop trying to watch over you at all, not because they feel safe, but because they've learned they're not allowed to. You get up from the couch, walk down the hallway, and before you even reach the bathroom, you hear paws behind you. They don't hesitate, they don't question it, they just follow. Most people think, my dog just can't be alone for 2 seconds. But that's not how dogs see it. To your dog, you're not just their owner, you're their reference point. In canine psychology, dogs are wired to stay close to the one they trust most, especially during transitions. Moving from one room to another might feel meaningless to you, but to your dog, it's a moment of separation, and separation, even small ones, activates something called attachment tracking. Their brain is constantly asking, where is my person? Are we still together? Do I need to follow? So when you walk into the bathroom and close the door behind you, you've just broken that connection. And if that happens repeatedly, without reassurance, something subtle begins to shift. Your dog may start following you less, not because they've become independent, but because they've learned that staying close to you doesn't always lead to connection. And that's how attachment slowly weakens without you even noticing. You're sitting there, phone in your hand, door closed, and suddenly you notice your dog just staring at you, not moving, not asking for anything, just watching. Most people assume they're being weird. Why are they so obsessed? But look closer. That stare, it's not random, it's a check-in. Dogs use eye contact as a way to regulate their emotions. It's tied to something called social reassurance behavior. When your dog looks at you, their brain is trying to answer one question. Am I safe right now? And your reaction matters more than you think. If you acknowledge them, soft voice, relaxed energy, eye contact, their nervous system settles. But if you ignore them, or push them away, or act irritated, that moment turns into uncertainty. And repeated uncertainty builds into low-level anxiety. Not enough to cause obvious problems, but enough to slowly change how your dog feels around you. Yeah, because from their perspective, they came to you for reassurance and didn't find it. Think about this for a second. You're busy all day, walking around on your phone, doing things. And your dog, they're trying to find moments where you're actually available. Now, suddenly, you go into the bathroom, you sit down, you stop moving, you're in one place. And there they are, watching you. Most people think they picked the weirdest time to follow me. But from your dog's perspective, this is one of the only moments where you're not distracted. Dogs are incredibly good at pattern recognition. They learn, this is where my human slows down. This is where I can get their attention. So they show up, not because it's the bathroom, God, but because it's you being still. Right, and here's where it gets interesting. If every time your dog approaches you in that moment, you ignore them, scroll your phone, or push them away, you're teaching them something very specific, that even when you're physically close, you're not emotionally available. And over time, dogs stop seeking attention in places where they feel ignored. That's when you start hearing owners say, my dog used to follow me everywhere. Now they don't anymore. And they don't know why. This is the one most owners get completely wrong. You're in the bathroom, your dog walks in and just stands there, watching you, not excited, not asking for anything, just observing. Most people laugh. Okay, that's just weird. But to your dog, this is information. Dogs read body language better than words. Every movement you make, your posture, your breathing, your tension, they're constantly analyzing it. It's part of something called emotional mirroring. Your dog is trying to understand, how are you feeling right now? Is everything normal? Do I need to react? Because in their world, your emotional state equals their environment. And the bathroom is a place where your behavior changes. You're quieter, more still, less interactive. That shift makes your dog pay attention. But here's the part most people miss. If your dog repeatedly reads confusion, disconnection, or emotional distance from you, they start adjusting their own behavior. They become less expressive, less responsive, less engaged, not because they want to, but because they're sinking to what they feel from you. And that's how emotional distance can start without a single obvious problem. Pocket, you close the bathroom door, and almost immediately, your dog reacts. Maybe they scratch, maybe they whine, maybe they just sit there, waiting. Most people think, well, they're being dramatic. They just hate being alone. But what you're seeing is often something much quieter. Low-level separation anxiety, not the kind where dogs panic or destroy things, the kind that builds slowly and hides in small behaviors. Because from your dog's perspective, you didn't just go to another room. You disappeared behind a barrier they don't understand. And that uncertainty activates their stress response. Heart rate increases, attention sharpens. They wait. Not because they're impatient, but because they're trying to feel stable again. And here's the problem. If this happens over and over without reassurance, and without a clear pattern they can trust, that low-level anxiety doesn't stay small, it grows, and eventually your dog may start showing it in other ways. Avoidance, over-attachment, or emotional shutdown. All from something that looked completely harmless. This is the one that changes everything. Your dog follows you, watches you, waits for you, not just in the bathroom, but everywhere. And most people assume, well, that means they love me. But sometimes it means they're checking if that connection is still there. Dogs don't ask questions with words. They ask with behavior. Will you look at me? Will you respond? Do I still matter right now? And the bathroom, strangely enough, becomes one of those moments because there are no distractions. You have no noise, no movement, just you and them. And your response in those moments? It teaches your dog everything. If you acknowledge them, softly, calmly, consistently, you reinforce connection. But if you ignore them, push them away, or treat them like an inconvenience, they learn something else. That being close to you doesn't always feel good. And over time, They stop checking. They stop watching. They stop trying. The truth is, your dog isn't following you into the bathroom because they're weird. They're following you because something in them is trying to stay connected. And every small moment like this, every glance, every reaction, every response is shaping how they feel about you. Not in one big moment, but in hundreds of small ones. Your dog doesn't just remember what you do. They remember how you make them feel. And if you want to understand the one behavior that means your dog truly trusts you, watch the next video on your screen, because most owners miss it completely. And once you see it, you'll never look at your dog the same way again.